I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I had my wisdom teeth removed, right? So before I did, I had a consultation with the doctor. Then he says to me, have you ever had surgery before? Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, what happened? Oh, I got shot. And then like we just continued. Yeah,
like
oh
normal.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then what else? Oh yeah. And it's like, okay, that's very weird for us to just talk about you getting shot.
For sure.
It's like insignificant. Oh yeah, you got shot. Oh well, that sucks.
I'll have a sandwich for lunch and then we'll
anyway,
move on.
Thursday we're doing the thing.
I can't do no small talk, no small talk. I'm not with the small talk. Can't be with the small talk.
Unscripted, The Fringe. We interview people of interest. We interview people who are on the fringe of what you would normally expect in the 5FM world. And I am really looking forward to introduce you to a young man. His name is Tshidiso Moletsane.
Yes.
He is from South Africa. He is a South African author. And last year, he published his debut novel entitled Junx. And Junx went on to win the Sunday Times Literary Fiction Prize. And he's in the studio. Welcome to Unscripted.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Cool.
The book actually was published in 2021.
2021
in September.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
but then it fell over into...
so like the thing, yeah. So like it's going to be 2 years old this year.
Got you. Okay, before we get to Junx, because I want to spend a good 10 minutes talking about the book and the character and Ushugela and like a whole bunch of stuff. I want to talk to you about who you are and what your history is. Let's start with the story of you writing Junx on a BlackBerry and being hijacked and shot. And basically needing to start from scratch again. What in the world happened there,
dude? So I was dating this girl at this particular point in my life. We were hanging out at my friend's house, and then I had to like go. So she lives like down the road from my homies, right? So then I was at my boy's place, and I drove to her place at like 10 o'clock. We hang out. I was pretty drunk. We hung out for a bit. Like 3 dudes get out of a taxi, and two of them come to me. They both have guns out, right? They're like, you get out of the car. Okay, I was pretty drunk, so I didn't really panic. I was like, oh, well, this kind of sucks, whatever. But well. And then I was kind of like belligerent, kind of. I wasn't very cooperative with the hijackers.
Right.
Then that's how I got shot.
I'm not going to give you my
phone. I was like, nah, you guys. And then that's how I got shot. Then I got shot, cool. And then so the third guy drags me out of the car. They drive off. So in the car was a jacket that I really liked.
Yes.
A bag. Inside the bag was my phone.
Okay.
Inside my phone were my notes that I'd been writing for a very long time.
Okay.
I'd written like some of the manuscript into my laptop, but then like some like random ideas that I would have, I'd jot them down on my phone, and I kept them as notes on my phone. So we eventually got the car back, but I never got the notes.
You never got your notes?
Yeah, I never got my phone back. My jacket was gone. I lost my bag. You know.
How do you bounce back from an episode like that, and then go on to write a full script, which then gets turned into a fully published debut novel? Like, how does that happen?
It's the strangest thing, right? Because when it was happening, it seemed very surreal. But then, like afterwards, I just got over it very quickly.
Okay. So
my girlfriend who I was with, like she saw me get shot, right?
Yes.
So then she struggled with it for a long time.
I can imagine.
She couldn't sleep. She had like really, really terrible trauma. She'd call me every night and ask me like, yo, like I had to like talk to her over the phone for her to fall asleep. So we talked for like hours.
Yeah.
But I never had that issue. Then everyone said to me that no, one day it's gonna like hit you. One day the trauma's gonna come, and then it never happened. Like it just sort of like disappeared.
Do you think as South Africans, especially as young South Africans, it's just like it's a thing for us? It's like cool. Like
I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I had my wisdom teeth removed, right? So before I did, I had a consultation with the doctor. Then he says to me, have you ever had surgery before? Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, what happened? Oh, I got shot. And then like we just continued.
Like normal.
Cool. Oh yeah, then what else? Oh yeah. And I was like, okay, that's very weird for us to just talk about you getting shot.
For sure.
It's like insignificant. Oh yeah, you got shot. Oh well, that sucks.
I'll have a sandwich for lunch and then we'll move on.
Thursday we're doing the thing. And there was no conversation.
Okay.
And then so since it happened to me, it happened like a week or two later at like around the same area. I told another guy. This guy unfortunately died, you know. So it was like, hey, it was pretty luckily I just got shot in like the thigh or something.
Okay. Did you use some of it in the writing of Junx?
No,
is there not?
Because I already had the idea basically when I got shot. So I already had the complete like thing in my head. Yeah, so that was just something else. Maybe I'll use it for something. Maybe when I write something in addition, not Junx really, but the next thing I work on, I'll maybe like include the story of how I got shot in the thigh.
Got you. I love that. I think that you're very inspiring in the sense that you're not allowing allowing a very negative thing to influence you. You're just moving on, and I think I think that as South Africans, that's maybe the way in which we should be treating it.
Hey man, generally you get two sides. Usually it's like hey man, that's really cool that you did that. Then the other side is like, hey, that's really not healthy, man. You should maybe interrogate this thing because you got shot and you just like going on about your day like nothing ever happened to you.
For sure.
The only like my biggest concern was like when it happened. My biggest concern was like my private area because I got shot like close to my penis.
Gotcha.
So I was wondering like, yo, am I okay down there?
Yeah,
when
sure.
I got shot. And then after that, I'm like, yo, can I walk? Like my main concern was my penis okay? Then okay, how about my spine? Is my spine fine?
Yeah.
And then I was like, it was cool.
But you're okay though. You're physically you're fine.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay,
Nothing.
nice.
There's no like I don't have a limp or something. Like, I'm completely healed.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. So you finish writing you don't get the notes back, but you have the idea in your head. You finish writing the book.
Yes.
How easy was it for you to get the book in front of the right people and get people to read it and go, okay, cool, we like the story, we want to publish it, or we don't like the story, this is what you should change, etc., etc., etc. What was your process there?
So the thing is, I started writing when I was 15, right? So by the time I started writing Junx when I was, I think, like 20 or something,
okay.
Right? So but from the time I started writing to the time I tried to get Junx published, I'd gotten rejected like 100 times. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I knew this. I know basically the whole thing was like, okay, you send manuscripts, you send like a sample of the manuscript, you send like a synopsis, and then you send like a cover letter. You talk about yourself in the work, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did that. Then so I'd done it 100 times. I got rejected 100 times. Okay, cool. I did it with Junx, and then like the week before I got shot, I got like, hey, we like this. Can we get the full manuscript?
Yes.
So when it happened, I was like, oh, this sucks. The first time I get any sort of like positive feedback about this work, I lose my whole thing and I have to start over.
Yes.
So then I had to like, I think, because they're like, okay, I send them the 3 chapters, and they say maybe like, hey, in like a month, can we get the thing?
The full manuscript.
So I have to say to them, hey, man, I don't actually have it right now. I didn't tell them the story, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't, give me like maybe like another year.
For sure.
In my mind, I'm thinking they're not going to be interested. They're like, we're not going to wait for you to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Then they were like, no problem, do the thing. So like another year goes by, I write the whole thing, I send it to them, the entire manuscript. Then maybe like another the whole process takes like 2 years. It takes forever, bro.
Yeah.
So then they get back to me, they're saying, oh yeah, we like the manuscript, but then we have to like take it to like pitch it to like a meeting, whatever.
Got you.
We pitch it to those guys. Then okay, now those guys like we have to pitch it to like another. There's like 5 different like gates, boundaries of entry. Like okay, now we send it to this person. This person has to like it. We send it to like the marketing guys. We send it to the budgets. So like it went through like a bunch of like in every obstacle was like okay, yeah, next thing, okay, next thing, and so on. And then while this is happening, then COVID happens, right? So then they don't say anything to me for a year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they probably decided this sucks. We're not going to go through with this.
So at this stage, are you editing? Are you speaking to them? Like or have you just handed this thing over and now there's radio silence?
So I'm just waiting. So I just send the whole thing. So I'm just like waiting. But like, I am doing some edits. I'm changing a couple of things. But for the most part, I'm like happy with what I've submitted to them.
Okay.
Then I just have to and I just have to wait basically. And then I have to wait for like a year. They're like, okay. So the last, from the time they said to me, we went to the last meeting, we're going to publish the book, right? To the time they got back to me and said we're doing the edits now, it took like more than a year.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they just decided, oh no, I thought they got to their senses. They were like, oh no, this is terrible. We're not going to go through with this thing. But then they decided to keep the book, and then it got to the stage where we started doing the edits. And then there's like another...
So how does that work? Do you work with a specific person from the publication or from the public house?
Okay, so I had an editor. Her name is Katriona Ross. Okay. She was great to work with. Mm-hmm. So she was my like primary editor. So I did most of the manuscript with her. Cool. Once we completed the whole manuscript, then we were sent to like proofreaders. So it was her. Then it was like another 2 people. You know. Then there's always like a bunch of feedback, a lot of notes, a lot of changes have to happen. So we did that, and then probably after maybe from the time we started doing the edits. So the time we finished, maybe it was like another 6 months. It's such a long thing. It's you wouldn't believe how like long it takes, especially considering like the length of the book. The book isn't a very long book.
Yeah.
So you would think it'd be very quick to get it through the system, but it took a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a huge amount of satisfaction that comes with that. Like you're working on something that's hugely, that I imagine is hugely rewarding.
to me, because obviously to me, like I've always wanted to be a published writer. It was like a
Right.
really big deal for me, right?
Yeah.
So when it finally did happen, I was like, oh, like even when I got like the first bit of good news, I was over the moon. But I
Yeah,
was
for
like,
sure.
oh yeah, we're finally doing the thing. The thing is happening, right?
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I was told, okay, we're going to publish the book, and then okay, that's cool. Then the book gets published, right? And then I'm thinking, so my whole thing really about this book in particular, right, was I just wanted to like legitimize myself as like a writer.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to be like, hey, I am such and such. I've
Yeah.
wrote a thing.
Yeah.
Can I try?
You
to do
want
other
your
writing
stamp
stuff?
of approval on
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
Because if I could have self-published, right? But I also believe like getting published by a publishing house is also like a measure of quality.
Absolutely.
So that was the thing in my mind too. I was like, no, I want, because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. Because they
Yeah.
said no to me so many times, and I
Yeah.
just gotten angry about all the no's. So it became like fuel. Like I'm gonna do this thing no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I did the thing.
So is there now talks for another manuscript to be submitted? Are you can you say?
No,
if
nothing.
you're- yeah,
'Cause
okay.
it's like to me, it's like it was just there's no sequel to,
Okay,
to Junx. It
gotcha,
was just this is the
gotcha.
thing I'm writing.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty finite ending. The book is
This is
Yeah.
It's interesting how because some people are like, no, it's like it sort of doesn't close. Then some people sort of get like, no, it's over. Like,
It's over,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
where it ends. Some people think there's no like more to it, and then there isn't really.
I
That's the
I
whole
have to
thing.
say I did read the ending more than once to try and interpret it, and I think it's a very we'll get to Junx in a second. Just in terms of the in terms of what you do now. So are you still writing? Are you still putting
Yes.
together
Okay.
stories?
So I'm trying. Yeah. So I'm trying. I've been reading a lot, but okay, I have an idea of what the next thing is going to be. So I have to just start writing what the next thing will
Got
be.
you.
But it's going to be like. I expect it's going to take me like another like a year or something.
Yeah,
It's going to
for
take me a long time. Yeah. But yeah, so I have an idea. And also like, of course, they've been like the publishing house has been like, yeah, let us know when you do the next thing.
Yeah.
Then I've gotten like Melinda Ferguson is like open to publishing me.
Oh,
so
nice.
now I've got like people who are
Nice.
like, hey, even if they don't want your work, you can give it to
You
me.
can give it to me.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Great. I'll do
Yeah,
the
Melinda
thing.
Ferguson is obviously a guest that we have had on Unscripted
She's
as
a
well.
great lady.
Yeah, and has published some phenomenal stories.
Have you
and
have you
some-
read her memoir?
I haven't, but
It is
people are telling me that I must.
fantastic book.
Yeah.
Incredible book. So like her mom, I'm not going to give much away, but like her mother was like, I don't know if she's cool with this actually, but it's in her book. So her mom was like a Nazi sympathizer. So like she grew up with like a woman who was like pro-Nazi. It's such a crazy story.
I can imagine.
It's a crazy book, but it's great.
That's insane.
really
Okay,
good.
so writing in South Africa,
Yes.
we are a nation of storytellers. We've got a bunch of people who have written some phenomenal books. The one thing that I wanted to ask is, how does it feel to be the first trailblazer?
It was I don't know. It's just because again to me it wasn't really about any. I didn't have any like lofty ambitions. It was
Got
just
you.
like I just want to write a thing. Then I hope they pick the thing up, and I
Got
hope
you,
something
got you.
happens with the thing. Then they were like, "Oh, we're going to put you in like this new imprint that we're working on. It's going to
Yeah.
be called Trailblazers." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Whatever." Like I don't even know what it means really. I was like, "Okay, man, as long as you're publishing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's great." And
Did
then
you
they
have the
just
same
did thing.
reaction when you won the Sunday Times Literary Fiction
Yeah.
Prize?
I didn't think I was going to win the thing. But
Yeah.
Because I thought Damon was going to win, obviously, because he won the Booker Prize, right?
Okay.
So then I went there with me and my friend. The friend that I went with is the guy who's on the cover. He's on the
Okay.
cover of
Okay.
So we went together. So I was like, let's just go get some free food and booze. Let's just eat and just hang out.
Yeah.
Then we get there. There's this lady. Her name I struggle with her last name, but her name is Jenny. She's the lady. She works for 102. Hot 102
Okay.
something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then before the ceremony starts, she says to me, like, I think you have actually like a good shot of actually winning. And I was like, no way. I was like, this woman, no way. I was like, okay, but yeah, thank you, whatever. Then I sort of just sat down, and then like the thing happens, and then they announce your name. Then they put like there's like the cover on the screen, and they put my cover on the screen, and they announce my name, and then there's like this applause, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what? Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then they ask me, hey, do you want to say a few words? I get up there, I can barely speak. But
Yeah.
I just walk up there and I'm like, wow, thanks. Wow. Then they're okay, cool. Then I just sit down. I was like, what the hell just happened? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it was so far removed from anything that I could have imagined. I didn't even think it would. When I saw that I was longlisted, I was like, this must be a mistake.
Yes.
Like, who's doing this? Who's making these long lists?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, nice.
Because I didn't
man,
have
nice.
any like lofty ambitions with the thing.
No,
I
no.
was just writing just to get published. I didn't really think I didn't think too deeply about like the attention that this is going to attract.
No, for sure.
When I was
for
doing
sure.
the thing, yeah.
Okay. Without ruining Junx, I just wanted to chat about it a little bit. The story follows a young person in a South African area.
Yeah.
And when I say area, he follows a specific path.
Yes.
leaving Soweto, coming into Melville, doing all sorts of interesting things, and then ending up not too far from here in a train yard.
Yeah.
So there is obviously an element of I'm not going to say supernatural, but there is an element of imagination to him and his friend Ari, his best friend Ari. When you were writing the story of Ari, how did you because if you were to take him out and just have a normal like story of a guy meeting a girl and doing this and going to this and and stealing a car and doing this and what, it would still work. But now you've added this extra element of almost supernatural sort of he's such an interesting character, and he's so cool, and he's so and I love the way in which you describe him, because does he have feathers, does he have fur, like you know what I mean. When you decided to put that in, was that a moment of, okay, cool, I want this to stand out?
Yes. Okay, so there's a thing, I'm probably going to butcher this though, but there's a guy who wrote Garfield, right?
Okay.
So he said that when he wrote Garfield, he didn't want to write something that was like funny or interesting. He just wanted to write something that would be popular.
Got you.
Right. So then he realized that when at the time, what was a popular comic at the time was like the Snoopy comic.
Okay.
Then he realized that the puppy was the most popular character in the thing.
Yeah.
So he saw that as like an opportunity for like merchandising or whatever. So he was like, I'm going to make a character, I'm going to make him a cat. Then I'm going to try and market the thing around this cat.
Okay.
So my thing was, I also want to make like a thing, like a weird like mascot basically for the story.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to make him like interesting and like cute, but also make him just like very, very terrible, like a very, very bad person.
Got you.
Essentially.
Got you.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I don't think that Ari's a bad person. I think that the main character has got some elements of I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have made that decision if I was in his position.
But he encourages a lot of just,
absolutely.
Like, hey man,
absolutely.
do that, go for it, man. Do your thing. Yeah, I'm just here to watch.
The music festival that you refer to, Sexy Sugar Honey, what is it?
Sexy. The first name was Sexy Chubby Super Mega, which was like a line from an AKA song.
Okay.
So I can't remember what I changed it to.
Okay,
Sexy Honey
cool.
something.
I wanted to ask, what was the inspiration behind that?
Opie Kopi.
Okay, cool.
So they haven't had it in a couple years.
Yes.
It breaks my heart.
Yes.
It was a great time.
Yes.
So I've been there, I think 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
It's just amazing.
Yes.
Just a really, really great time. So a lot of inspiration was from my experiences in Opie.
At Opie Kopi. That's so cool.
Brilliant.
That's so cool.
It's great time, man.
Yeah,
I miss
for
that
sure,
place so
for
much,
sure.
man.
All right, it's cool. Because we can talk about Junx all day. I'm a massive fan of the book. I think it's extremely well written. The last thing that I wanted to discuss is the way in which you write your female characters.
Yes.
So very early on, we meet a young lady who you refer to as a Shugela.
Yeah.
She's the perfect character for me, because she's the character that is encouraging your main characters to stop and slow down and have something to eat and sleep and that sort of thing.
Yes.
And it just doesn't happen. And I wonder if there's somebody in your life like that. If it's somebody that.
No, bro.
Not.
Interesting. Okay, the girls in the various women that he comes across in the
Yes.
book are inspired by like girls that I actually
Okay,
know,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
Or like experiences that I've had with women, right?
Yes.
So I've never had. Well, actually, now that I think about it, just I do have a friend who's always been like, "Hey, man, you need to calm down."
Slow down, yeah,
But
yeah.
I wasn't really thinking about her when I was writing that particular character.
Got you.
That character was just based on a girl that I was with at the time, who was just like a sweet girl, and I was like, that's the name Shugela is also
Yes,
from that.
sweet.
It
Yeah,
means
yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm going to create this thing. I'm going to make it a character. And I'm going
Okay.
to write about it.
And Ophelia, does that?
No.
Same
Ophelia. Oh, dude. Okay, so Ophelia is like this other chick that I was with when I was a teenager.
Okay. So you're piecing together the story as you go.
Yeah. Okay. Another girl when I was a teenager, and
Yeah.
then the girl. What's her name? The girl Mayim, the girl you meet towards the end.
In Melville.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this girl who I had a huge crush on when I used to go to Vids, right?
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna say her name. Like she's married now.
Yeah.
I loved that girl. I was so
Yeah.
infatuated with that chick. She was like one of these chakra hands. She was like into yoga. She was so cool.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, and I started writing the book when I was in Vids. I was like 20. So I was like, she was like a big part of like, I want to have like this thing that, and I still find, but like her aesthetic was like, I want to
Have
this.
you sent her a copy of Junx?
No.
No.
I don't.
Okay.
We don't talk anymore.
We don't talk anymore.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
cool.
like we don't really speak. But yeah, there's a couple women who like a lot of the things that happen in the book either happen to me or to someone that I know. So a lot of the stuff is like based on like some actual events outside of the imaginary friend person. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So last thing that I'm going to mention is the moonflower scene.
Yes.
That is one of the best written scenes that I've ever read, but it is so scary. It is so because if you submerge yourself in what's happening to him at that time, it is a very, very scary sort of. Well, later on we find that it's a scary outcome for his partner.
For both of them. Yeah, there's two of them doing.
Yeah, for sure. Is that do you think that when you are trying to tell a story, you need to be real about the situations that your character puts themselves in?
Yes. Okay. So I think you can't you can't write about something honestly if you're going to tiptoe around certain things.
Got
if you're
you.
going to be overly politically correct. You
Got
can't
you.
really write about something
Got you.
honestly, right?
Yeah.
So and another thing for me, right? I also want my writing to be fun to read. So I want it to be a good story, but I also want it to be. I don't want it to be monotonous. Like, oh, they went to the shops, they went to buy beer. I want it to be like, oh yeah, have some
grit.
Yeah,
Grit.
have some personality into the thing, right?
Yeah.
You are the only person who's referenced that specifically, that they like the moonflower scene.
Well, I just think that it's so well written. I think that you don't need to. You can take that just those couple of pages, the 4 or 5 pages in which you describe him going to the house / shack and doing the whole thing. You can take those pages away as a standalone story, and it would still work, in my opinion. It's so well written, and so and again, I say it's scary because it's you can only imagine what your subconscious does in certain situations, and that's I think what you've captured so beautifully.
I think that is probably one of the best compliments I've ever received, really, and I've gotten quite a bit at this point. So
Yeah,
that's
can
really,
imagine.
wow, thank you.
Cool,
man.
no
Thank
worries,
you.
man. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a massive fan of the book, and I'm a massive fan of your writing. Okay, so final question: what's next? What do the next couple of months look like for Tshidiso Moletsane?
So I'm trying to write a thing. So I want to write maybe I'm going to pitch this to you right now.
Cool.
So I'm trying to write a story about two friends who accidentally start a cult.
Okay.
And then once they realize it's becoming a cult, okay, so Fight Club, to use Fight Club as an example, I
yes.
really love Fight Club.
Yeah.
So in Fight Club, they accidentally start a cult, and then when they realize it's a cult, they decide, the guy is like, hey, we need to stop this. This is getting out of control, right?
Got you.
So I want to do the opposite thing. So I want to get two guys who accidentally start a cult, and then when they realize it's a cult, they make it more culty.
Okay.
So they do just weird sex stuff. They do all kinds of weird cult stuff.
Got you.
Yeah, so that's the thing I'm trying to get into now. So I'm reading a bunch of occult books. So I also want it to be really ritualistic. I want them to do a bunch of weird, voodoo, a lot of witchcraft stuff.
Okay.
So
will it be set in South Africa?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so it's gonna be that's the idea that I have now. But again, it might never happen. It's just an idea right now. I only have one page or something that I've written, or it might turn into something else really. But that's the idea that I have. Basically, I'm just gonna be working on that. Then I've had a couple people approach me with hey, they were interested in doing something with the book, right? They're like, hey, can we
want to do a Netflix series?
Yeah, let's do a series on thing. Let's do. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
man, cool. You let me know. So I'm kind of just waiting on that right now and see where that goes.
Yeah. Nice, man. Thank you so much for joining us on Unscripted.
Man, we're done that quickly, bro. How much time? How long have we been here?
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming down. The last thing that I want to ask is somebody who's written a manuscript, somebody who's putting it out into the universe, trying to get it published. What advice do you have for that person?
Okay. This is the issue here, right? Is that there's everything has a market. I get that, but then sometimes maybe your work is just not that good. Okay, first because some guy sent me a thing. Some guy sent me can you read my thing for me? I didn't have the heart to tell him, man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes maybe you're just not that good. But hey, I guess there's a market for everything.
Got you.
But also, if you really, my whole thing is write something that's interesting and fun.
Okay.
Right? Make it fun, make it interesting.
Okay.
Don't just write something that is, and also don't be preachy with your work. We don't lecture us with your writing. Just write something that would be cool for us to watch or cool for us to consume.
Okay.
It is it's hard basically to get published in this country.
Absolutely.
Because also the returns aren't great, so they don't really take a bunch of books in, you know what I mean? So it's difficult to get published. And then if you do, it is, you can't really expect, with me, I'm surprised that all of this is happening. So just if you do find yourself in a situation where you do get published, generally authors don't really get this sort of attention. So it is not something that you should pursue if what you want is adoration and stuff like that.
And fame and fortune.
Yeah, just something. If you're really into the thing, do the thing.
Yeah.
If you have some really cool stories to tell, if you have some really interesting perspectives, hey man, go for the thing, man. But ultimately, hey, there's a lot of terrible stuff that's out there. But ultimately, hey, there's a market for everything.
Love it.
I don't want to discourage people. Hey,
Love
man,
it.
write your thing, man.
Yeah,
Good
but
luck.
that's a real answer. That's something that I think is very important for people to acknowledge. Excellent. Tshidiso Moletsane, thank you so much for coming through.
Wow, man, this is so
we
dope.
will we will chat in future, and I'm really looking forward to reading your book about the occult.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was so cool. This was really, really fun. Thanks.
Nice.
This is 5FM.